to know what to expect from men. Because some women get married and they don't know what to expect. And they don't really get to know what to expect from a man. They don't really get to know what to expect from a husband until maybe it's too late. You're already in it 5 years. You're already in it 10 years or 15 years, and then you just realize then that this man ain't cutting it. This man ain't cutting it. This is not what I bargained for, because they didn't know. And so because people don't know, they get into relationships that lead in the wrong direction because they don't know. They don't even know what to look for in a man. Okay, so anyway, how to understand and meet your wife's needs. And so this is both helpful to men and to women. And based on Ephesians chapter 5, verses 28 and 29, Paul says, "So husbands ought also to love their own wives as their own bodies." And so if you love your body as a husband, as a man, you will love your wife. You know how to love your wife. So husbands ought also to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his own wife loves himself. For no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes it, just as Christ also does the church. That is the prescription for how a man is to love his wife, just as Christ loved the church. That's how we have to love our wives. It's just quite a serious order. Most people prepare for marriage like a teenager shopping for his or her first car. Believe it or not. And teenagers look first for exterior and other immediate qualities, showing little concern about long-term maintenance of that car. They could care less about the long-term maintenance. They could care less about how difficult maybe it is to get parts for that car. Those parts might not be available locally. So if something goes wrong with your car, you might have to order those parts all the way from China or from Hong Kong or from Timbuktu. And so when you buy a car, you have to consider all that. How readily available are the parts for that car? Is something going to go wrong with the car? It doesn't matter how pretty the car is. It doesn't matter how fast the car is. How readily available are getting parts for that car once that car goes bad. And so these are some of the things that teenagers in particular, or young people in particular, do not consider when buying a car. And so rather than asking about important things such as mileage and resale value, they are preoccupied with speed and flashy accessories. And there are some adults who are the same way, who should know better. Who should know better on how to shop for a car. But nevertheless, they're concerned with the wrong things. They're concerned with mileage or they're concerned with the flashy accessories and whatnot. And so when people get married, this is the analogy, when people get married, they usually haven't prepared themselves for the expense and the maintenance aspect of the relationship. Most people. They usually haven't prepared. They haven't prepared themselves for the expense and the maintenance aspect of the relationship. Immaturity causes us to enjoy the pleasure of something without assuming responsibility for it. Without assuming responsibility for it. Immaturity causes us to do that. It is even more immature to get rid of something or to reject it simply because it needs maintenance or has broken down. Anyone who drives a car or owns a home realizes that you cannot sell your car or move every time you have a problem. Every time you have a problem with the car, you can't sell it or you shouldn't sell it. You have to consider maintenance. You have to consider maintenance, how to maintain that car, how to keep that car running properly. You want a reliable car that every time you jump in that car in the morning to go to work, when you turn that key over, it's going to stop. it's going to start right away and it's going to be able to take you from point A to point B. You want a reliable car. But in order to do that, in order to have a reliable car, you have to consider maintenance. You know, there's no sense buying a car and you're not maintaining it. A car needs water. The tires need to be properly inflated. The car needs oil. The times when the oil has to be changed, and on and on. The times when the radiator needs coolant or whatever. All of these things needs to be checked on regularly in order for your car to run properly. But the problem with most women in particular, I mean there are some men who are the same way, but the problem with most women, not all, but most women, is that they never consider maintenance. They never consider maintenance, they never consider driving into the garage or whatever, or and asking someone to open the hood and check it out to see if everything is in place. Amen? And so we learn to be responsible for the maintenance. We learn to be responsible for the maintenance if we are going to use and to enjoy material possessions. And the same thing applies to a house, a car, a house. The same thing applies. Or to any material possession that you might have. It has to be maintained. A house has to be maintained. You gotta periodically check the roof for leaks. You have to periodically check the plumbing, that there are no clogging, especially in the kitchen area. Sometimes the pipes get clogged because with all kinds of grease and stuff that are allowed to go down the drain. Some people don't plug the sink properly to make sure that no hard stuff goes down the pipe. And so these are some of the things that has to be checked in order to maintain that the house is running properly. The house is running properly and functional. It has to be user-friendly. Just like the car has to be user-friendly. The house has to be user-friendly. Everything got to be working and running. The water, the electricity, the lights, the air conditioning, the telephone, the cable, the TV. In order for that house to be user-friendly, it has to be properly maintained. It has to be kept. It has to be cleaned. It has to be painted. And on and on and on we can go. It has to be, in many cases, termited. Like in our house, we live in a termite area. And so our house needs termiting or exterminating every now and then because of the termites in our area. And every time it rains in particular, the termites would flood our house. They are attracted to the fluorescent lights, and we have to shut down all our windows. Otherwise, they get into the house, and they would destroy the house. They would eat everything that they could eat. And so a house has to be maintained. A car has to be maintained. Amen? And so likewise, the answer for marriage problems is not to reject your spouse or to get a new one. Understand that? The answer for marriage problems, when we're talking marriage, the answer for marriage problems is not to reject your spouse or to get a new one. You didn't do that with a car. You maintained the car. You took it and you had it fixed. You know, there was some noise being made underneath the hood or the engine, and you wanted to know what that noise was. So you take it to the mechanic and you have him check that noise. Or there's a leak. Every morning you come out, you notice there's a leak, oil leak on your driveway. So you have to take that into the mechanic to check that out. What's causing this leak? Is this something that could be serious? Is this something that can cost me some money later on? It has to be checked. And so the analogy here is that the answer for marriage problems is not to reject your spouse or to get a new one because you have a problem. The same way you fix the car or you get the car serviced, the same way you have your house maintained, you apply that same principle to your marriage when there are problems in a marriage. And so the answer is to assume responsibility for fixing any problem in a marriage. And if we took our God-given responsibility to provide for our partner's needs and to maintain our relationship properly, there would be few, if any, serious problems to face in our marriage. So you see where I'm going with this, right? If we took our God-given responsibilities to provide for our partner's needs and to maintain our relationship properly, there would be few, if any, serious problems to face in our marriage. And so the point being made here is that just as we go out of our way to maintain our car, our vehicles, and to make sure that it is properly running and that it's going to be reliable and that there are no serious problems with that car. And just the way you spend time and money to maintain your house and to keep it upkept and to keep it functional and whatnot, we are to apply the same thing to our marriage. And the sad thing is that for many marriages, that doesn't happen. Oh yes, we spend a lot of time in our cars, and we spend a lot of time in our houses, and sometimes we spend a lot of time even with our pets. Glory to God. We spend a lot of time with the dogs, making sure the dogs are taken to the vet, and the dog is maintained, and the dog is kept healthy, and on and on and on. But we don't apply the same thing to our relationships in that marriage. Isn't that sad? It's like we take the marriage for granted. We take it for granted. It's gonna maintain itself. It's gonna keep itself. What about the dogs? What about the cats? What about the car? What about the house? A tremendous number of marriage problems are due to shallow thinking and irresponsible attitudes. And most of us want marriages without maintenance. Get that? Most of us. We want marriages without maintenance, thrills without responsibilities, and fun without faithful devotion. Marriage without maintenance, thrills without responsibilities, and fun without faithful devotion. Sorry. That is simply immature and unrealistic thinking. Immature and unrealistic thinking. When a man marries a woman, he has acquired a precious gift from God. He has a lifelong friend, lover, and helpmate. He is drawn to such a relationship because he needs a woman with whom to share his life. But if he thinks for a minute that his precious bride will not require regular maintenance, get it now, he is sadly mistaken. And sadly, too many men make that mistake. Too many us men, let me just say us men, because that applies to me too. No matter what woman a man marries, his wife will require essentially the same care. Trust me on that. No matter who she is, no matter what woman a man marries. She could be younger than your previous marriage or your previous wife, or she could be older, she could be wealthier, she could be poorer, she could be fatter, she could be slimmer. Whatever. No matter what woman a man marries, his wife will require essentially the same care. The same care. All women basically need the same care. All women basically need the same care. After years of marriage and having counseled and interacted with scores of women, I can tell you emphatically that women are all basically the same. Women are all basically the same. Like automobiles, there may be a few different options available on some models, but under the hood, the equipment is the same. Basically. You have the engine, you have the battery, and all the other parts that go along with the radiator, and on and on and on we go. The equipment is the same. Some men don't believe this, so they keep trading wives, thinking that this one can be different. This one's needs is not going to be the same as the last one. I need somebody who can think differently. I need a woman who can pay attention to my weaknesses and whatnot, or to my shortcomings. They keep trading wives, hoping each time to get a newer or better model that performs 100% of the time and never needs care and maintenance. But it doesn't happen. It does not happen. All women basically have the same needs. Such a man is headed for multiple disappointments simply because that particular model does not exist. Automobile or woman, it does not exist. Before a man marries, he should understand that he automatically assumes the responsibility for his wife's needs. It's his responsibility whether or not she is better equipped than he is, whether or not she might be more educated, whether or not she is making more money than him or not. It doesn't matter. Before a man marries, he should understand that it's his responsibility for his wife's needs. It's not his wife's responsibility to take care of herself. It's not his wife's responsibility to take care of him. No, that's his responsibility. That's his responsibility, whether or not he is in a position to do so. So number one, before he gets married, he should ask himself those questions. Can I take care of this woman? Can I meet her needs? Because she's going to have needs as a woman. She's going to have particular needs. She's going to have peculiar needs as a woman. Am I in a position to meet those needs? And if he's smart, he said, well, yeah, I ain't, then I better stay far from her because I'm not in that position to meet her needs. She's smarter than me. She's making more money than me. She's more sophisticated than me. I don't want to put myself in a position with a woman like that to feel like less than a man. Like I won't be able to perform. And so if a man is smart, he can stay far from that kind of woman. Either that or bring yourself up to meet her level. Because it's his responsibility. To meet his wife's every need. And there are two significant issues about women that men must learn and accept in order to have a harmonious marriage. Two. And the first issue is the essential difference that exists between men and women. Men and women are different. And the second is learning the four major needs of a woman and how best to meet them. We realize that men understand the basic sexual and physical differences between men and women, and recognize certain other differences as well. However, our goal is for men to understand and to accept the fact that women are essentially different from men in almost every area. Women are different. And until and unless a man understands that, and he were to go into a marriage with not understanding that, he's heading for trouble. If he thinks that a woman is just like him and a woman thinks just like him, and why can't she think like me and why can't she be like me? Listen, man, get it together. Get it together. Women are different. Women are different. God wired women differently than he has wired men. So beyond the issue of physical sexual differences, many men are totally frustrated by the overall mystique of a woman. I heard an elderly man say some years ago when I was a teenager. I had just come into church. And he said to the congregation concerning women, he says, I've been married to my wife for 50 years, he said at that time. He said, I've been married to my wife for 50 years and I still don't know and don't understand. I still don't understand, he said. And he said that emphatically. I still don't understand. After 50 years of being married to a woman. And that is true. He was being honest. He's being honest. He is being honest. Both sexes need to realize neither one is weird. Neither one is weird. We are the way God made us. God has wired us differently. We are not supposed to be alike. We are not supposed to even think alike. We are not even supposed to react to things alike. We are different, but we have to learn how to harmonize. We have to learn how to get together. We have to learn how to work those differences out and so as to live together harmoniously. We can either accept this truth and learn to function in it, or we can continue generations of frustration and fighting between husband and wife. If you don't understand that. If you don't understand that. I have to remind myself often, concerning Emmy, that she's different. She's different than I am. She thinks differently because she's a woman. Sometimes it's annoying to think that that a woman thinks differently in so many ways, but then it's something that we have to accept, and we have to learn to live with, and we have to learn to accept these things about our wives and about women, that they are different. And so even when we have realized and accepted the differences in the opposite sex, we must be careful not to translate their differences into our own language as men, as we often do. As we often do, we have to be careful not to translate their differences into our own language. For example, suppose your wife says to you, honey, I want you to hold me. The average man will think, oh boy, she wants sex. Especially if you're in bed, a husband and wife, you're in bed together. And she says to you, honey, hold me or hug me. That's the way men think, you see? And that's the way the average man thinks. And unless you're mature, unless a man matures to the point where he realizes and understands a woman's language. But a man has to mature to that point. That's my point. He has to mature to that point to realize that not every time a woman says to her husband or says to you, honey, hug me or hold me close, means that she wants sex. And he will begin not only to hold her, but to make sexual advances. The average man. And that annoys a lot of women. That turns off a lot of women. And if a man, like I say, if a man doesn't understand that about a woman, he will get annoyed. He is going to misread what she meant. He might even get angry. And he can say something or do something to upset the whole situation. Because he's going to feel as though, well, she's not into me. She's always rejecting me. She's always pushing me off. And he reacts to that foolishly. Then all she wanted was a hug. In many cases, all a woman wants is a hug. And she could have been married for 5 years, 10 years, it makes no difference. Sometimes all she needs is a hug to go to sleep. You don't want nothing else. Just a hug. A hug and maybe kiss, and then hug her for a couple of minutes, and then when she starts snoring, you go on your side. Let her snore. Let her sleep. That's all she needs. That's all she needed was a hug. That's all she needed. A woman don't need sex. Like men feel like they need everything is every night, every day, sex. No. God didn't make women like that. And so again, a man has to mature to that point to understand this about a woman. And that takes maturity. That takes a special kind of maturity for a man or for a husband to get to that point. It takes maturity. It takes maturity to accept that and not get angry at her. The next day, you're angry, you ain't want to talk. You ain't want to talk. You ain't want to talk to her because, she rejected you last night. And this, that, you wanted sex and she rejected you. So you feel as though she don't love you no more. She must be into somebody else and all that kind of stuff. Huh? What? Say what? It takes maturity. It takes a mature man to reach that point and understand that about his wife. And so as your wife slaps your hand away, she says, can't you keep from touching me there? Can't you stop that? Again, you feel rejected. You feel rejected when a woman does that to you, or when your wife does that to you, or when she speaks to you like that. Men have a natural need for sex, yes. A man's brain thinks this way because sex is one of his primary needs. But he has to learn to mature that. I'm sorry, he has to learn to control that. And that's where maturity comes in. Not because you have a need for sex every day as a husband means that you must have sex every day. You have to control your sexuality. Otherwise, you'll be all over the place with every woman. Because while you have a sexual need, you feel as though because I'm a man, I need sexual gratification every day. And since my wife is not available to me every day, I need a sweetheart. Or I need some sweethearts who can meet my sexual needs. When God wants you as a man to mature and to grow up in that area and learn how to discipline your sexuality, learning how to discipline your physical body. Amen? But sex is not a primary need for the woman, we must understand. Whereas it's a primary need for a man, but sex is not a primary need for a woman. Trust me on that. A woman doesn't need sex every day, even in marriage. Some men get into marriage thinking that, oh boy, I'm married now, so that means I'll have sex. Oh, no. It don't work like that. That ain't what marriage is all about. That is not what marriage spells. Oh boy, I'm married now. Sex. I got all the sex I need now. Really? You in for rude awakening. You in for rude awakening. I'm telling you. You will be in for a rude awakening. Women need affection. That's it. Women need affection. While totally different from men, it is true. So when a woman says she only needs to be held or she needs a hug, that is exactly what she means. I heard foolish men saying that. When a woman saying no, that means yes. Foolishness, that's nonsense. That's nonsense, man. That's street talk. Where did that come from? But when a woman says no, she means yes. Foolishness, man. When a woman says no, she means no. And so any translation into man talk is inappropriate. If a man does translate what she is saying into man talk, he will only frustrate her and himself as well. If he thinks that she meant yes. When she said no, when she slapped your hand away, she meant that. Don't touch me, man. I ain't for that today. I'm not for that right now. You see? And don't let her have to say it twice. If she slapped your hand off once, back off. Back off. If she said no, it's no. You know what I mean? And so many of you know the feeling of rejection because you have experienced it. When recently married couples seek counseling, those who had no formal preparation before marriage often state their problem like this. He is a pervert. Some women might say, because that's all he wants. All he wants is sex. So she says he's a pervert, says the wife, and the husband counters, she's frigid. Obviously he doesn't understand that she's a woman and she thinks differently and she's wired differently because he has these needs, these strong sexual needs every day. He automatically feels that she should have those same strong sexual needs every day too. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. When each really is saying, I do not understand nor accept our differences, that's what they're saying. When she's saying to him that he's a pervert, and when he's saying to her that she's frigid, they really don't understand their differences. She can understand why he wants sex all the time, and he can't understand why she doesn't want sex all the time. Each is convinced something is gravely wrong with the other, because she can't understand why he needs sex all the time, and he doesn't understand why she doesn't want sex all the time. And so we got a problem there. And so if husbands and wives could simply listen to each other, if they could simply listen to each other, take each other at face value, and apply themselves to meeting one another's needs, happiness would prevail. Happiness would prevail. Husbands would get the sex they need in an energetic and satisfying way. Wives would get the tender affection they need. No one could wipe the smiles off their faces with a soap pad when that happens. Not only does a woman need affection, but she also has a deep need for intimate conversation. Intimate conversation. When spouses reject each other and call each other's names, lives are damaged. Lives are damaged when they start calling each other names. Oh, you black and ugly, or you're mad this and you're part the next thing, and you ain't nobody, and when I met you want nobody, and all that, and all this kind of stuff. So when those kind of things happen, lives are damaged. Lives are damaged. The only way to successfully live with and love a spouse is to honor and to accept the inherent differences and meet the other's needs aggressively. When this is done, spouses can become best friends and intimate lovers. When this is not done, spouses become bitter rivals and mutual victims. And let me share with you then the 4 major needs of a woman and the way they are met. The 4 major needs of a woman and the way they are met. A woman's 4 basic needs are security. Notice that was the first thing. I didn't say sex. A woman's 4 basic needs are security. That's number 1. Number 2, affection. Again, notice I didn't say sex yet. Security, affection. Number 3, open communication. Notice I haven't said sex yet. And number 4, leadership. Leadership. That's what a woman wants in a relationship. That is what a woman wants from a man. That is what a woman wants from a husband. Those 4 basic needs: security, affection, open communication, and leadership. Because security is the most basic need, we will discuss that first. And I'm not going to deal with the 4 of them today, I don't think, because of time. I'll deal with the first 2. Security. Security. Security is more than finances. That's the first basic need that a woman has. And notice, like I said, in those 4 basic needs, sex is not one of them. Sex is not one of them. We're talking about a woman's 4 basic needs, not a man's, a woman's. Security, affection, open communication, and leadership. Although security is a very broad term and general in meaning, nevertheless, it is a woman's greatest need. Security. It's a woman's greatest need. And of course, women listening to this teaching this morning are being helped in determining or knowing what to look for in a man when you're looking for a husband. You look for a man who can provide those needs, those four basic needs. Or at least who have the potential of providing those needs. And so nevertheless, it is a woman's greatest need, like I said. Whether a woman is growing up with her parents or living with her husband, she has the genuine need to be secure. A woman has a genuine need to be secure. Trust me on that. Every woman, maybe in different degrees, but every woman has this need to be secure. She has a genuine need to be secure. A woman needs to know that she is safe and well provided for in every aspect. And so when in choosing a man, she needs to look for such a man who will provide for her in every aspect. And a wife's basic need for security is satisfied by adequate protection and provision given by God through her husband. Adequate protection and provision given by God through her husband. And so the husband must communicate 4 things to his wife to satisfy her need for security. 4 things. The husband must communicate 4 things to his wife to satisfy her need for security. And these are the things that a woman should look for in a man in choosing a man to marry. Number 1, he must communicate that he cares for his wife above anyone or anything except God. It should be God first, then his wife. He must communicate that he cares for his wife above anyone or anything except God. And so when a woman senses her husband is preoccupied or detached from her in some way, she will immediately feel insecure. Let me repeat that. When a woman senses her husband is preoccupied or detached from her in some way, she will immediately feel insecure. He's more involved in sports. He's more involved in culture. He's more involved with his buddies. He's more involved with maybe his family. He's more involved with his work. He's more involved with other people. She would immediately feel insecure. I'm the second best on his list. Or maybe not even second, third or fourth or fifth. Everybody else is more important to him than me. All his friends are more important to him than I am. His family is more important to him than I am. And on and on. Maybe his pastor is more important to him than I am, and so on and so forth. His job is more important. Whatever it is that he's involved with, his hobbies, his sports, his leisure time, whatever he does after work and on the weekends or what have you, he's more involved in those things than he is in my life as a woman or as his wife. And so when a woman senses her husband is preoccupied or detached from her in some way, she will immediately feel insecure, and rightly so. Rightly so. If he's always out with his buddies, he's always spending his quality time with his buddies. And when he comes home at night after certain hours, I only get what's left. But he was not around all day. I mean, I have so many things to talk about with him as my husband. The things concerning the children, things concerning the home, things concerning our future, things concerning my health, and on we can go. But he was not there. He's never there. And when he is here, he doesn't have time even to listen to me, because he's too occupied in the television. He's too occupied with watching football. He's too occupied watching baseball. He's too occupied watching basketball. He's too occupied watching some movie on the television. But he has no time for me. He has no time to listen to me. He has no time to talk to me or talk with me. or just to be there. And so she would immediately feel insecure. Insecure. She wants to know her husband is tuned into her needs and concerns. That I'm the most important person in his life. Even more so than his mother or his sisters. That's the way a woman wants to think. A woman can discern instinctively if her husband truly is caring for her properly. Women have the gift of intuition. Women are more spiritual than men for the most part. And so the best way a husband can determine if he is caring for his wife properly is simply to ask her. Ask her, maybe over dinner sometime. Or when you go out on a date, or whatever. Ask her. Honey, are you happy with me? Or whatever. Are you okay? Are you happy? That's a broad question. That's a broad question. And if she's honest, she would answer you. Honey, do you feel like I'm caring for you properly? Do you feel provided for and protected? Are you happy in this marriage? Are you satisfied with me as your husband? And if she says yes, to that question, he can know that he is meeting her needs. But if she says no, then he should listen carefully as to why not. If she says no. What? Explain. And as a husband, you want to know. As a husband, you want to know that your wife is happy. As a husband, you want to know that she's pleased with you. You want to know that she's happy in that relationship. You want to know that she's pleased with the marriage. That she doesn't have an issue. As a man, you want to know that. But some men get so caught up in everything else. They get so caught up in sports, and they get so caught up in the various extracurricular activities that they are involved in. They get so caught up with other people. They get so caught up with friends and whatnot that they could care less about their wives. They take their wives for granted. That's all. They take their wives for granted. Oh, she's my wife. I put her in that house. Where she got to go? The house is filled with groceries and all the food that she needs. All the bills are paid. She's comfortable. She got television. She got telephone. She has internet. She has everything. What else does she need? What all does she need? What all does she need? Mama, what all does she need? Glory to God. Hallelujah. That's the way the average man thinks. That's how the average man thinks. Most men are too preoccupied with trying to get my wife off my back. You know what I mean? Man, if I could get this one off my back. You know what I mean? All she does is nag me, man, all day and all night from morning to night. You see why I got to go out? Most men are preoccupied with that kind of thinking. To get my wife off my back and to keep her from demanding too much, rather than being totally committed to meeting her needs regardless of the cost. If I need to get out here, you know, some men I think maybe set up their friends to call them at the same time. Call me at the same time. I'll make it seem like it's something important to get me out of this house. A man often fears what his wife will do when he makes himself totally available to meet her needs. You know, she might want me to fix the roof. She might want me to cut the lawn. She might want me to fix the sink. She might want me to paint the rooms. I mean, come on. That's the way some men think again, you know. If I were to give in my wife to take advantage of me, he thinks. But a man often fears when his wife will do what a wife will do when when he makes himself totally available to meet your needs. And that is the last thing to fear in a marriage. That is the last thing to fear. You simply cannot imagine what a woman will do for her man if he will envelop her in an atmosphere of total security by laying down his selfish ways to meet her needs on the weekend. By committing the weekend to her. Okay, this is your weekend. This is your weekend. Yeah. Let's do something together. Let's go outside and cut the grass. Let's go outside then and do what we got to do to make the yard look better. Or we can stay in the house. I'll have you wash dishes. I'll have you mop the floor. Whatever. I'll make myself available to you. I'll spend time with you. I'll go to the mall with you. I'll go shopping with you. If you have somewhere to go out and I'll go with you. We can even go to a movie later on. Make yourself available to her. All of that helps to give a woman security. All of that helps to make a woman feel secure in that relationship because her man is always there for her. Her man is always there with her. Wherever she goes, he is there with her as a chauffeur or whatever, as her companion to protect her. To protect her. A woman needs protection too. She needs protection and security. So you got to be there with her to protect her, especially from other men. Hallelujah. Amen. Because if man see a woman continually out by herself, he would assume that she's single, or he'd assume that he can make his move because her husband is never there. You see? She's always out alone. She goes